On the 1st of December 1948, a man was found dead on Somerton Beach in Adelaide, Australia. He was well-dressed, well-built, no identification, no wallet, no ticket. The labels had been cut from every piece of clothing he wore. There was no obvious cause of death. Investigators searched his body carefully. They found nothing unusual until, weeks later, a pathologist discovered a tiny rolled piece of paper concealed inside a hidden fob pocket that had been sewn into his trousers. The paper had been torn from the final page of a rare edition of a Persian poetry collection called The Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. On the paper were two words, Tamám Shud. In Persian, the phrase means, "It is ended, it is finished." The man had no name. He had no past that anyone could identify. Forensic examinations suggested he had died of heart failure, but toxicologists found the evidence inconsistent. The pathologist who examined him described the case as the most mysterious he had ever encountered. Investigators could not determine whether he had been murdered, had died by suicide, or had simply stopped. They never identified him, not in 1948, not in 1949, not for over 70 years. Detectives appealed to the public. A woman came forward. She had owned a copy of the very edition from which the page had been torn. She had given it away, she said, to a man she had known during the war. She gave investigators a phone number, written in pencil, at the back of the book. The phone number led to a nurse named Jeston. Investigators interviewed her. She said she didn't know the dead man, but witnesses who were present said her reaction when shown the plaster cast of his face was unmistakable. She never fully explained it. In the book, investigators also found a sequence of letters, groups of characters that appeared to be a coded message. Cryptographers, military code breakers, and decades of amateur analysts have never fully deciphered it. Some believe it was a personal cipher between two people who wanted no one else to understand. Others believe it was a one-time pad used by intelligence operatives, a system designed to be unbreakable unless you have the matching key. In 2022, genealogical DNA analysis suggested the man may have been of European, possibly Irish, ancestry. A team at the University of Adelaide identified a possible family connection to a man named Carl Webb, an electrical engineer from Melbourne. But Carl Webb had a wife. She appeared to be alive and unaware that he was dead. There are questions that genealogical analysis alone cannot answer. What we know is this. A man arrived in Adelaide in 1948 with his identity deliberately erased. He carried nothing that could name him. He hid a torn page from a Persian poem in a secret pocket. He died on a beach in the early hours of December 1st, with his shoes polished and his body positioned as if he had simply sat down to watch the sea. He was looking south, out toward the Antarctic Ocean, which stretches unbroken for thousands of miles. He knew what Tamám Shud meant when he chose those words. He chose them. He carried them. Nobody knows why. Nobody knows who he was watching the sea for. Nobody knows why he needed to erase himself so completely before the end. The man on Somerton Beach has been buried and exhumed and studied and debated for over 70 years. He has still not told us his name.